The Williams Formula One team achieved 9 constructors' titles between 1980 and 1997, but since then the team have fallen off a cliff and become the backmarkers of Formula One. But 2022 provides an opportunity for Williams to make their way back up the order, but will the team's glory days return? Let's have a look. My name's Andy and this is Behind the Drive. In this video I'll share my opinion on the recent changes at the Williams team since they fell to the bottom of the Formula One standings in 2018. I'll also look at the changes in the team personnel on board since the team's recent takeover. I'll then assess the impending driver dilemma for the team, as they could well be forced to change their driver lineup for next season, and I'll look at what this might mean for the team's chances of fighting their way back to the front in Formula One. The recent changes at Williams. Williams Racing has gone through a huge amount of change over the last couple of years. The team lost their long-standing and lucrative title sponsor Martini in 2018, after finishing 10th in that championship. Since then, the team had a turbulent relationship with Rocket, which ended after a single season of their 5-year contract. Alongside this breakup in 2020, the team put themselves up for sale after reporting a £13 million loss over the previous financial year. This gave the team an opportunity to hit the reset button. The last of the true independent teams was up for sale, and they'd conceded that it had become necessary to sell up in order to stand a chance of getting back to the top of Formula One, or even challenging at all for that matter. Later in 2020 marked a new era for the team as they were taken over by investment firm Dorilton Capital, which meant that the team's future had at least been secured. The cost of this, however, was the fact that soon after the takeover in August, the Williams family left the team at the Italian Grand Prix of that year, so the team had seen significant changes structurally, with new team owners and a lack of title sponsor. But what does this mean practically? For starters, the team principal, Claire Williams, was replaced by Simon Roberts, who had joined the team earlier that year as the managing director. Initially, Roberts was temporarily put in charge, but this was made permanent towards the end of that season. Sure enough, the team would see change once again, with the new CEO, Jost Capito, being recruited from Volkswagen. The talented leader was brought in early in 2021 to steady the ship and find a way to get the team back to winning ways. The German has achieved a huge amount of success in the World Rally Championship with the VW team, and helped that set up win 3 double World Championships in a row. Plus, he's even had a short stint with McLaren in Formula One, so he's a CEO with a rich history in motorsport and some impressive positions with car manufacturers on his CV. A big upgrade for the Formula One team at the bottom of the standings. Subsequently, Capito replaced Simon Roberts as team principal, taking more of a hands-on role. Capito has also recruited his former colleague from Volkswagen, François-Xavier de Maison, or FX as he's known. He's been brought in as the new technical director. FX was the mastermind behind the VW Polo R, which won those World Rally Championships that I mentioned earlier, so not a bad pedigree to have in car development. Although, with limited Formula One experience, he may take some time to get up to speed. Regardless, bringing a new technical director in early in the season has given him the opportunity to point the direction of the new Williams car for 2022, when the all-important new regulations come into force. And with new regulations comes a huge opportunity for the backmarker team to lift themselves from the bottom of the championship, and they've already taken the steps to do so. Outside of the permanent members of the team, they've also recruited Jenson Button as a senior advisor. The former Williams driver is using his wealth of experience in Formula One and motorsport more generally to support the team at the factory in Grove, and also with the development of the Williams current and academy drivers. In addition to this consultative role, he's been appointed from an ambassadorial and marketing capacity. The two parties have signed a multi-year deal, so I'd assume that the Williams team are hopeful that this is good for the team's future prospects. So a large amount of change in not a lot of time, from both a senior personnel and organisational management structure perspective, but this has been coupled with, by Williams standards anyway, a relatively stable driver lineup over the last couple of years. The Williams driver dilemma. As a Mercedes customer team, the Williams outfit have benefited from taking on George Russell for the last 3 seasons. The 2018 Formula 2 champion has done well for the team, despite, to this stage, not scoring a World Championship point at the time of recording. Editor Andy here, and I definitely picked the wrong time to record this video, as Russell has now actually scored 4 points for Williams after a brilliant result for the team in Hungary. Alongside the young Brit is Nicholas Latifi, who is a pay driver but has at least offered some stability over the last 2 seasons. I think this driver lineup has been very good for the team under their new leadership. Having a complete revamp of both the management and the drivers may well have been too much change and affected the performance significantly. Given the team currently sit 9th in the Constructors' Championship, I believe that keeping those drivers in place has been good for the team's performance in 2021. But the problem that the team face is the fact that their number one driver's 3-year contract with the team is due to end, and the current expectation is that Russell will end up moving to Mercedes for 2022. This is an issue for the team for a number of reasons. Number 1, George Russell is the team's lead driver. Despite not scoring a point for the team, he's been able to achieve a spot in Q3 on 2 occasions so far this season, at the Red Bull Ring and at Silverstone. To lose their main driver who's been with the team for 3 seasons could well be costly, and they'll need to replace him with either an incredibly talented academy driver or someone with significant experience in Formula 1. The team does have a junior academy, which has a few drivers in Formula 2, including Dan Ticktum, who currently sits 4th in the championship and has a reputation for being fast, but a bit hot-headed. Editor Andy here again, and this is the second thing that's changed since the recording of this video, as Dan Ticktum has subsequently been dropped by the Williams team. They also have Jack Aitken, who stepped in to replace George Russell at the Sakhir Grand Prix last year. But realistically, neither driver is experienced enough to move into what should be the number one driver role at the team, especially if Williams want to take a step forward in 2022. The alternative options include the likes of Nico Hülkenberg, whose last Formula 1 experience was some impressive stand-in performances with Racing Point, Valtteri Bottas, who could become available if Russell gets promoted to Mercedes, or Daniel Kvyat, who's had a number of stints in the sport through the Red Bull Academy, and also has experience as the 3rd driver for Ferrari and the reserve driver for Alpine. In my opinion, all 3 of these drivers could be trusted to step into George Russell's potentially vacant seat and deliver some good results. At the same time, there are some potential curveball options for this seat, including the likes of Pierre Gasly, who might be looking for a route out of the Red Bull-owned seats in the sport and might be swayed by the future potential of heading to Williams and building the team around him. Or even the current Formula 2 leader, Oscar Piastri. The Alpine junior driver will be on the lookout for any opportunity, and if he wins the Formula 2 title in his rookie year, after winning the Formula 3 title the year before, then I think it would be criminal if he doesn't find a seat on the F1 grid. A deal would obviously need to be done with Alpine, but he could provide an option for Williams that would indeed be a risk, but could pay off much like their gamble on George Russell in 2019 did. You then have the debate over the second seat of the team. Nicholas Latifi has done a good job over his season and a half, but has never beaten George Russell in qualifying. He's delivered some good race results, with 3 11th place finishes over his debut season at the Red Bull Ring, Imola and Monza. So given slightly different circumstances, the Canadian driver could have easily sneaked some points for the team. He also brings a large sum of money, which before the Dorilton Capital takeover was critical for the team's survival. But the takeover has changed things financially, and they may no longer need the tens of millions of pounds from Latifi. If that's the case, and they don't need the money, then perhaps going for a driver from their academy could become an option if they believe that they would be able to perform better than Latifi can. It would certainly be a statement move from the team if they let go of the money that Latifi offers. If the team do lose George Russell to Mercedes for 2022, opting to make 2 driver changes could also pose huge risk for next season. With a new car as a result of the new regulations, not having a driver that they're familiar with could well be a risk from a development point of view. Perhaps this could be mitigated by bringing in Hülkenberg or Bottas, given both of these drivers have driven for the team before, but it must be considered that they both raced for a team a very long time ago. So for me, I don't think they'd want to take the risk of changing both drivers. Will Williams get back to the front? We've seen what's changed and what might change for 2022, but will these factors mean that Williams can get back to the front of the Formula 1 grid? There are a number of factors to consider here. You have the new cost cap, the change in regulations, the new technical director FX de Maison, and even the fact that Williams have opted to strengthen their Mercedes ties with a deal which sees them purchase Mercedes gearboxes and hydraulic systems for next year. All of these elements add up to mean that the Williams team is in a far better place than they have been during the last few years. They have the required financial backing which offers them security, but the new budget cap pulls the other teams much closer to them in terms of their annual spend. This means that relatively speaking there is much more of a level playing field in Formula 1, and this will be particularly apparent next year when you consider the fact that the 2022 cars will be brand new, and the majority of development for them will have been conducted under the cost cap. The new cars present another opportunity. With Mercedes, Williams have one of the strongest power units on the Formula 1 grid, and there's no doubt that this will continue going into next season. With the early appointment of de Maison, the team have given him the best chance of success, allowing him to direct the development of the new car. At the same time, it was reported early on in the 2021 season that the team were focusing on their 2022 Challenger predominantly by May, with almost all of the wind tunnel time going into that car. And speaking of wind tunnel time, currently Williams has more testing time available to them than any other team on the grid. The sliding scale aero regulations mean that Williams have 112.5% of the relative time to the 5th place team, which was Renault, and the leading teams have even less time in the wind tunnel. This provides Williams with a small but potentially significant advantage, allowing them to run more tests to develop a stronger car for 2022. We haven't seen this in Formula 1 before, and the changes might not be noticeable, but it's certainly something that stands in Williams' favour. By taking on further elements from Mercedes with the gearbox and hydraulic systems, the team benefit once again. Not only do they not need to develop these potentially expensive elements themselves, but they also take these parts from one of the strongest cars on the grid. The reason the team didn't do this sooner was because of a desire to remain an independent team, but with the new management, there's been a more pragmatic approach, which results in these kinds of decisions. So in my opinion, Williams are in as good of a position as any to start working their way back to the glory days in 2022. It probably won't happen immediately, but if the team creates a competitive car, with the right drivers on board to capitalise on it, then there's no reason for the team to not make a significant step up the order next year. Let me know what you think of Williams' chances for next year in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video and watched this far, then make sure to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more of these kind of videos in the future.